Paradise has a way of hiding its darkest secrets beneath postcard-perfect sunsets and crystal-clear waters. But on the island of Maui, where tourists come to find love and locals live the dream, one woman's jealousy would shatter an entire community's sense of safety. This is the story of two best friends, a love triangle that turned deadly, and how the person you trust most can become the one who destroys everything you hold dear. Kailua Beach, Maui, March 2018. Where the sand is powder soft and the water shifts from turquoise to deep sapphire as your eyes follow the horizon. For 26-year-old Isabella Chen, this wasn't just a vacation destination, this was home. A marine biologist working at the Maui Ocean Center, Isabella had found her paradise studying the coral reefs that surrounded the island. But paradise is always sweeter when shared. And for 3 years, Isabella had shared hers with her best friend since college, Sophia Martinez. Sophia had followed Isabella to Maui in 2016, leaving behind a marketing career in San Diego for what she called the adventure of a lifetime. The two women were inseparable, hiking the Haleakala crater at sunrise, snorkeling the Malakini crater, running a small jewelry business together selling handcrafted pieces to tourists in Lahaina. From the outside, they had everything: youth, beauty, a life most people only dream of. But beneath the surface of their perfect friendship, something dark was growing. Something that would turn deadly on a moonless night in March. The catalyst came in the form of Marcus Rivera, a 29-year-old surf instructor from Paia. Tall, sun-bleached hair, the kind of easy smile that made hearts skip beats from Wailea to Hana Bay. When Isabella met Marcus at a beach barbecue in February 2018, their connection was immediate, electric, undeniable. For Isabella, it was love at first sight. For Sophia, watching from across the bonfire as her best friend laughed at Marcus's stories, it was something else entirely. Because Sophia Martinez had been harboring a secret for almost 2 years. A secret that consumed her thoughts, drove her to fits of rage she carefully hid behind bright smiles and supportive words. A secret that would ultimately cost Isabella everything. Sophia wasn't just Isabella's best friend. She was in love with her. Had been since their junior year at UC San Diego. And she wasn't about to let some surf instructor destroy the life they'd built together, even if it meant destroying Isabella herself. At first, Sophia played the role perfectly. The supportive best friend, excited about Isabella's new romance. She double-dated with them, helped Isabella pick out outfits for romantic dinners, even took photos of the couple at sunset spots around the island. But those who knew Sophia best began to notice changes. Kiana Walsh, who worked with both women at their jewelry stand in Lahaina, would later tell investigators about the moments when Sophia thought no one was looking. The way Sophia would stare at Isabella when she was texting Marcus, Kiana recalled. Her whole face would change, like someone had flipped a switch and turned off every light behind her eyes. The breaking point came on March 15, 2018. Marcus had surprised Isabella with a weekend getaway to the Hana coast, just the two of them. When Isabella called to tell Sophia she'd have to miss their planned shopping trip to Paia, the mask finally slipped. Their neighbor, Mrs. Eleanor Tanaka, reported hearing screaming from Sophia's apartment that night. Not crying, not argument, screaming. The kind of rage that sounds like something breaking inside a person's soul. March 22, 2018. Isabella returned from her romantic weekend glowing, engaged, ready to plan a future with the man she loved. Marcus had proposed on the black sand beach at Wainapanapa, with nothing but the sound of waves and the kiss of salt air as witnesses. Isabella couldn't wait to tell Sophia. Couldn't wait to share her joy with the person who had become like a sister to her. She had no idea that person was already planning her murder. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. Sophia suggested a girls' night to celebrate the engagement, just like old times. A hike to their favorite secluded spot overlooking Haleakala Bay, where they'd watched countless sunsets and shared countless dreams. "We need to talk about us," Sophia had said, "about how things are going to change now that you're getting married." Isabella thought they were going to discuss wedding plans, maybe talk about Sophia being maid of honor. She packed a picnic, brought champagne, even wore the sundress Sophia had given her for her birthday. She never suspected that her best friend had packed something else entirely in her hiking backpack. March 23, 2018. 7:30 p.m. The golden hour on Maui, when the light turns everything into a painting and the world feels infinite with possibility. Isabella Chen drove her Jeep up the winding road to their favorite hiking spot, Sophia sitting beside her, chatting about work, about the weather, about anything except what was really on her mind. The trail to their viewpoint was only a half-mile, but it wound through dense tropical forest before opening onto a cliff that offered one of the most breathtaking views on the island. 200 feet above the ocean, with nothing but jagged rocks and pounding surf below. They reached the clearing just as the sun began its descent toward the horizon. Isabella spread out their blanket, opened the champagne, talked excitedly about the wedding venue Marcus had suggested. She was so happy, so trusting, so completely unaware that her best friend's smile was nothing more than a mask over pure, seething hatred. "I need to tell you something," Sophia said finally, when Isabella paused to take a sip of champagne. What happened next was captured on Isabella's phone, which was recording video for what she thought would be a celebration message to Marcus. Instead, it became evidence of a confession that would chill investigators to the bone. "I love you, Isabella. I've been in love with you for 4 years. Since junior year. Since that night you cried on my shoulder about David breaking up with you. I've watched you date other people, pretending to be happy for you, dying inside every single time." Isabella's voice on the recording is confused, trying to process what she's hearing. "Sophia, what are you saying? We're best friends?" "No," Sophia's voice cuts through, sharp as broken glass. "We were supposed to be more than that. This life we built here, this paradise, this was supposed to be ours. Not yours and Marcus's. Ours." The argument that followed lasted 17 minutes. 17 minutes of Sophia's rage pouring out like poison, years of obsession and unrequited love twisting into something monstrous. Isabella trying to reason with her, trying to salvage their friendship, trying to back away toward the trail. But Sophia had come too far to let Isabella walk away. She'd brought a knife from their shared kitchen, hidden it in her backpack beneath the picnic supplies Isabella had asked her to pack. At 8:47 p.m., as the sun finally disappeared behind the horizon, Sophia Martinez made sure that her best friend would never marry Marcus Rivera, would never share paradise with anyone but her, even if that paradise was death itself. What Sophia Martinez didn't count on was Isabella's phone continuing to record after she thought she'd turned it off. 37 minutes of audio that would become the most damning evidence in Hawaiian criminal history. Sophia's voice, no longer the supportive best friend, but cold, calculating, completely detached. "I'm sorry it had to be this way, Bella. But you never would have chosen me. You never even saw me as a possibility." The sound of Isabella's body being moved. The scrape of rocks. The distant splash 200 feet below. And then, most chilling of all, the sound of Sophia Martinez practicing her story for the police. "She must have slipped," Sophia rehearsed, her voice shifting back to the concerned friend persona. "The rocks were wet from the earlier rain. She was so excited about the engagement, maybe she had too much champagne. I tried to catch her, but I couldn't reach her in time." But the recording captured something else. The sound of Sophia going through Isabella's purse, taking her engagement ring, pocketing other personal items. The sound of someone who had planned this moment down to the smallest detail. Someone who had been fantasizing about eliminating her competition for months. March 24, 2018. 6 a.m. Sophia Martinez called 911, hysterical, reporting that her best friend had fallen from a cliff during their sunset hike. Her performance was flawless, the grief-stricken friend, traumatized by witnessing a tragic accident. The Maui Police Department initially treated it as exactly that. A tragic accident. Young woman, celebrating her engagement, perhaps had too much to drink, took a selfie too close to the edge. Happens more than anyone wants to admit in paradise. But Detective Ray Nakamura, a 20-year veteran of the force, noticed inconsistencies in Sophia's story. Why hadn't she called for help immediately? Why were there no defensive wounds on her hands if she tried to catch Isabella? And why did she seem so calm when describing the most traumatic moment of her life? The breakthrough came when Isabella's phone was recovered from the rocks below, damaged by saltwater but not destroyed. The cloud backup had preserved everything, including 37 minutes of audio that revealed the truth about Paradise Lost. When Detective Nakamura confronted Sophia Martinez with the recording, her carefully constructed facade finally crumbled completely. No more tears. No more grief. Just cold admission of a crime that had been years in the making. "She was never going to love me the way I loved her," Sophia said during her confession. "At least this way, she belongs to me forever. Marcus can't have her. No one can have her." The psychological evaluation revealed a woman who had been living in a fantasy for years, convinced that Isabella's friendship was actually hidden romantic love. Every casual touch, every shared laugh, every moment of normal friendship had been twisted in Sophia's mind into evidence of deeper connection. When reality finally intruded in the form of Marcus Rivera, Sophia's carefully constructed delusion shattered. And when delusion dies, sometimes it takes everything else with it. Sophia Martinez was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the first-degree murder of Isabella Chen. The premeditation was clear, the evidence overwhelming, the motive as old as humanity itself, love twisted into possession, friendship corrupted by obsession. But justice, as Isabella's family learned, can never truly balance the scales when someone's entire future has been stolen. Isabella Chen was laid to rest in a ceremony that blended her Chinese heritage with the Hawaiian culture she'd come to love. Her grave overlooks the ocean she devoted her life to studying, where the coral reefs she protected continue to thrive in waters that will never again reflect her smile. Marcus Rivera left Maui after the trial. Too many memories, too many places where he'd planned to build a life with the woman he'd loved for such a brief, brilliant moment. He now works with marine conservation efforts in her honor, carrying on the work she can no longer do herself. But perhaps the most heartbreaking detail emerged during the trial. Isabella's journal, found in her apartment, revealed that she had noticed Sophia's growing obsession, had been planning to address it gently, lovingly, after her wedding. The final entry, dated March 22nd, just one day before her murder, read, "I think Sophia might have feelings for me that go beyond friendship. I need to be careful about how I handle this. She's been my best friend for so long. I don't want to lose her, but I need to help her understand that some kinds of love aren't meant to be." Isabella Chen died trying to save a friendship that had already been murdered by obsession. Died because she was too kind to see the danger in someone else's desperate love. Died because she believed that honesty and compassion could heal a heart that had already chosen darkness. Today, if you visit the cliff where Isabella Chen took her last breath, you'll find a small memorial placed by the marine biology community. A plaque that reads, "Dr. Isabella Chen, she saw beauty in the depths and brought light to the darkness." The irony isn't lost on anyone who knew her story. Isabella spent her life studying the hidden world beneath the ocean's surface, never realizing that the deepest darkness of all was hidden in the heart of her closest friend. They say that paradise is a state of mind, not a place. That we carry heaven and hell within us wherever we go. For Isabella Chen, paradise was sharing joy with the people she loved. For Sophia Martinez, paradise could only exist if she possessed completely the one person who would never be hers. In the end, Sophia got what she wanted. Isabella belongs to no one now. But paradise, real paradise, was lost forever the moment friendship turned to obsession, and love became a weapon more deadly than any knife. The most beautiful places on earth can hide the ugliest truths about human nature. And sometimes, the person standing closest to paradise is the one most capable of turning it into hell.